QuickMat is a material and decal manipulation workflow tool. It's a superpower that helps you get your scene looking good quickly by assigning high-quality textures you already have, without needing a deep dive into material creation just to use them. Bringing objects in from Blender and Vectorworks comes with a few pain points in my workflow, so I created QuickMat to make it easy to import assets into Unreal and get them looking the way I want. Whether it's changing the texture tiling, adjusting tint, working with the objects that have missing or poor UVs from CAD software like Vectorworks, adding displacement, surface imperfections, and more. QuickMat is now a tool I use daily to overcome these recurring challenges. The first thing I usually ask when purchasing a new tool is, how do I use it? How complex is this? I've broken everything down so you'll be able to use this tool effectively after a single watch. I'll go over all the included materials and show examples of implementation and execution. I don't like manuals, so you won't find any here. Videos are much more intuitive, and I can pass information more easily this way. By the time you finish watching this example, most of your questions should be answered, and you'll be able to figure out the next steps naturally. If not, I'll always create follow-up tutorials for deeper workflows and link them in the playlist. The scene you are looking at was built in Blender. It's not the most technical scene, but it works well for demonstrating the workflow. We'll go from this to this. In the interest of time, I've already downloaded and imported textures from ambient CG into the project. These include albedo, normal, roughness, and displacement maps when available. With the groundwork laid, let's get started. Copying the required assets to your project. The first thing you should do after importing QuickMat into the project is copy the material instances from the QuickMat root directory into a suitable location inside your own project. I'll copy them into my QuickMat demo project inside the Demo Material Showcase folder. This ensures we always have backups and a clear working source. As I need materials, I'll duplicate the required material instance, rename it, apply it to the model, and then edit it. QuickMat material. Let's start with the TV screen surround. The first material I'll break down is QuickMat, the hero material. This is a general-purpose material with support for surface imperfections and grunge. I'll duplicate the QuickMat material instance, rename it to mi_plasma border, and apply it to the model. Don't be alarmed by how it looks right now in the viewport. It has custom textures pre-applied. The material I have in mind is very simple, so I'll disable the albedo map, darken the color, and adjust the roughness until I get that iconic plastic shininess. Simple enough. Next, we'll move on to the walls, ceiling, and floor. I'll use the QuickMat material again. The plasma border is already based on QuickMat, so I'll duplicate it, rename it to wall_yellow, apply it to the model, and use plaster textures downloaded from ambient CG. I'll enable the albedo map. Reset the color adjustment. Enable the roughness map. Assign it. And then do the same for the normal map. Immediately I can see the texture scaling is off. Sometimes when you author your own models or bring them in from software like Vectorworks, this can happen. You can adjust the UV scaling to compensate and create the correct look. Alternatively, you can use QuickWorldMat, which I'll cover shortly. Once the ratio looks correct, you can use the global scale control to size the texture while preserving that ratio. I'll adjust the roughness slightly so the wall doesn't look freshly painted and give it a nice yellow color. I'll assign the same material to the opposite wall as well. Now, I want to use the same material instance on another wall with identical settings, except for the color. I'll duplicate the material, rename it, assign it to the wall, and change the color to a light blue. How easy was that? For the ceiling, I'll duplicate the QuickMat instance again. Call it mi_ceiling. Assign it to the roof and repeat the same workflow as the walls. For the floor, I'll repeat the process again, but this time I'll demonstrate displacement. Enable displacement and assign the displacement map. You'll notice that even though displacement is enabled, nothing happens. Adjusting the strength also has no effect. This is because Nanite must be enabled on the static mesh for displacement to function. To fix this, click the magnifying glass icon next to the static mesh to locate it in the content browser. Right-click the static mesh, go to Nanite and enable it. Make sure to save the asset. Displacement is now working. Quick note, when working with Nanite displacement, you may see strange artifacts at first. That's normal. Once the displacement strength looks correct, simply move far away from the mesh and return. I'm not entirely sure why this happens, so if you know the reason, leave a comment below. We still have a few more QuickMat examples to explore. Next is the stage deck. We need materials for both the stage legs and the deck surface. I'll duplicate the plasma border material again since it's already based on QuickMat and only needs minor adjustments. This time I'll enable the metal map section and assign the metal maps for the legs. For the stage deck surface, I'll adjust the color slightly by lowering the saturation and darkening the tone. Now I want to demonstrate surface imperfections. Assign your imperfection texture, adjust the settings, and you're good to go. You can also link your crime map to the surface imperfection color map if you want additional control. QuickWorldMat material. Next, we'll move on to QuickWorldMat. To explain why this material is so useful, let me show an example of an object with poor UVs. I'll apply the stage deck material, and you can see there's almost no visible detail. Even applying the floor material to the door produces no usable result. That's because this object has no usable UVs at all. QuickWorldMat has fewer functions than QuickMat, but it doesn't rely on UVs to texture an object. I'll duplicate the QuickWorldMat instance, rename it to mi_door, and assign it. Immediately you can see it working. Opening the material instance, you'll see it supports displacement and ORM workflows. Let's assign the textures and review the results. Displacement is supported as well. Just make sure Nanite is enabled just like before. Navigate away from the mesh and return to it if you see temporary displacement artifacts. I'll repeat this process for the door handle and door frame. The pillar follows the same workflow. QuickEmit material. Any object that emits light can benefit from QuickEmit. You can use color temperature controls, RGB color, animation functions, and more. Let's start with the roof fluorescent lights. Duplicate the QuickEmit material instance, rename it Roof Light, and assign it. For the practical light on the table, I want a warm white bulb. Duplicate the roof light material and name it mi_lamp. By default, the material uses the RGB color mode. To switch to color temperature mode, enable CCT and set the temperature. I'll set mine to 3200 Kelvin, which gives a warm tungsten look. You can also adjust intensity. To enhance the effect further, I'll place a spotlight inside the lamp and match its color temperature. For the wall light strip, I'll demonstrate the animation function. First, I'll set the color to a nice cyan and reduce the overall intensity slightly. Enable the animation channel and you'll immediately see an effect. Note that the UV layout of this mesh was prepared specifically for this animation behavior. Preparing meshes like this is outside the scope of this tutorial, but I'll create a separate guide for that workflow. You have control over the animation texture speed, scale, and rotation. Using the minimum and maximum intensity values lets you prevent the light from turning completely off during animation. For the wall logo, I'll use the same technique. By setting animation speed to 0 and adjusting contrast, you can achieve detailed, emissive textures instead of a flat glow. For the TV screen, we can assign an image very easily. Enable Use Custom Emission Map and assign it to your image. Adjust brightness as needed. Depending on the image ratio, the results may appear stretched. The UV adjustment section is included to help correct this. Alternatively, you can place a simple plane in your scene, match its size to the image ratio, and apply the material there. I'll demonstrate that workflow in a future tutorial. QuickDecal material. QuickDecal is a powerful way to add posters or images to the world. Duplicate the QuickDecal instance and drag it into the scene. Underlying surface detail will still show through the decal, creating very natural blending. Images and logos can be applied easily for customization. Emissive masking is also supported to help create convincing downlighter effects. More videos will cover this specific workflow in detail. QuickSID materials, surface imperfection decals. QuickSID is used to place surface imperfections exactly where needed. It includes a strong edge feathering system to hide the square shape typical of decal-based imperfection maps. I'll duplicate QuickSID and rename it to Lamp Scratch. The lamp in this room has likely been moved around over time and would naturally create scratches underneath it. So I'll position the scratch decal beneath the lamp and assign the surface imperfection texture. The material provides many controls, but here I'll mainly use the masking sections to art direct the scratch placement. That concludes the basic overview of QuickMat. Whether you're using it already or just exploring what it can do, I hope this demonstration shows you the speed and flexibility QuickMat can bring to your workflow. I'll be creating more tutorials in the future covering advanced techniques soon. Until then, imagine, create, and see if it goes boom.